Hello everybody, this is a guide, if you will, just a general guide just to the masteries, explaining the different masteries, how they work, and how one should think when one wants to apply them. This is mainly targeted at my Alliance members, and without further ado, let's kick into it. I will be approaching this from a point of view where most people have got around 59 points. In other words, they are level 60. Some masteries are good to have if you aren't quite there. I'll point that out if I remember. Otherwise, in general, this is for more advanced players who should look at their masteries once more and think about what they're doing. We go through strength and greater strength, first two masteries here. Very pointless masteries to have. To put greater strength into perspective, 9 points over here gives you 8% extra attack. 1 point in courage gives you 10% attack when you're below 50% health. That is far better to have than 9 points here, right? For example, so bear that in mind. It's a lot of masteries are formed this way. PS is a very underrated mastery. 3 points in PS lets you ignore 15% armor. In other words, you're basically doing around 15% more damage. Obviously, ability accuracy reduction and things like that come into play, but that is extra damage you're doing. So, underrated. Consider 1 to 2 points in here. Very often I run 3 in PS. Depends on what I'm busy doing in the game. I change my masteries quite often. Courage, like I said, below 50% health, increase your attack passively, so it's not susceptible to ability accuracy reduction. You go below 50%, you're going to start hitting harder. Lesser precision. This is for people that don't have full points in the masteries that they can use. It's the little baby one of this one. Precision. Precision and lesser precision, that increases the chance of you getting yellow numbers when you hit your opponent. So more points in precision and lesser precision means that you're going to be hitting yellow numbers more often, as compared to where lesser cruelty and cruelty lets you make bigger yellow numbers every time that you do get yellow numbers. It's not quite that simple, but that is the general is all and be all of it. Alright, so in precision and cruelty, you want 5 points in one, 4 points in the other. If you're running a node where, and this is, let me explain that. This is purely for so that you don't run out of points later on, right? It's points management. So if you're doing, for example, crit me with your best shot, it means that you want to crit more often. It means that the actual damage you're doing per hit doesn't really matter, other than you want to be doing damage more often, because you want, in general, fights to be shorter. Shorter fights means you live longer. You are less prone to making mistakes. You are less likely to have to use health pots or revives, right? So then, for example, you would have 5 points in precision and you would have 4 points in cruelty, because then it doesn't really matter that you are not doing full damage every time you crit, but it's good that you're critting all the time. You won't be critting all the time with 5 points here. You won't be critting all the time with 10 points in these two. But still, you'd be increasing your chance of critting. Nonetheless, if you're, for example, just playing normally, it's good to have 4 points here. If you're running only Corvus and Ghost, you can have 0 points in these, because they have guaranteed crits. So they will crit all the time. Unless they're not meant to. Moving down here. Also underrated masteries. Extended Fury. Very good if you have to have a Fury buff up to be able to do damage. And Enhanced Fury. So for example, if you got Agon, you're busy doing LOL or Abyss or whatever, and he decides he's going to get angry. He's getting angry quite a bit with up to 8% extra attack. Now if you don't have full points that you can, or for example the money to go in and buy the cause for the Suicide Masteries, then yeah, extending your Furies or enhancing your Fury is not such a bad idea. Captain Marvel, also good. Medusa, she normally ends up with 3 Furies if she's running the Inhuman synergies, then she can have up to 5, I think it is. So yeah. Moving here, Despair. Great to have if you want to reverse regen. As you can read, the more debuffs you have, the more up to 15% per debuff you're going to start reversing healing with, or minimizing healing, and then ultimately that'll go into the negatives and it'll start going backwards, right? Unfazed, it's not such a great mastery to have. It's not useful in so many places. I think that these new event quests, you may have some use of it, but yeah, I wouldn't waste the point. Deep Wounds. If you're doing bleed nodes in AQ, often map 7 say, and you have to bleed to get from A to B, you want 3 to 4 points there. I've got 4 points unlocked. 5 points is a bit steep. Then you're not playing well. You need to rely more on the rotation to do your damage, right? Because that's what it's based on. You're doing your rotation, you're doing your damage when the bleeds aren't there, you're doing your blocking, you're waiting for your opening, you go and get more damage afterwards when you get an opening. Slow play your fights better. You don't need more than 3 points in general in that. Assassin, I cannot stress more than anything that you actually don't need more than 1 point here. Once again, rely on your skill, rely on your rotations. It is purely a luxury mastery to have. It is there for when you write at the end. Sometimes these champs, they just decide they're going to hang on for that 1%. That last 1%, you can hit them 3-4 times before they die. That's what Assassin is for. That you don't have to hit them 3-4 times, you only have to hit them maybe twice. And putting more points to be able to ultimately get 60% for that last 18% of attack. Once again, learn your rotations, rely on your rotations, trust your skill, fall back on your skill. What you've been doing between 100% to 18% on your defender, just keep on doing it. You don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything different. You don't have to force the fight at all past the 18% mark for your assassins to kick in and, I don't know, win you the day or something. You're more likely to die by changing your rotation and doing something different. Moving up now to Glass Cannon. The biggest waste of points that most of us can do. I'm not going to do the whole once again speech, rely on your rotations, blah blah blah, but that's what it comes down to. Just pay attention to your rotations, and you don't need an extra 7.2% attack, because that is piss. Once again, just look over there. You got 10% from 1 point. Here you get 7.2 from 3. It's not worth it. If you're not running suicides, ignore it. Put it on defense. Put it in here. Or here in PS, put it in PS, you got 5% from 1 point. From 1 extra point, you get an extra 5%. From 2 points in here, you'll have 15% extra attack. Under any circumstances, because you're ignoring the armor. Recoil, once again a mastery that you have if you're running suicides. Once they're fixed ghost, run 3 points in recoil, if you can, because she would normally not take damage from it. And you'd be throwing 60% harder specials. But I think she's still broken at the moment, so run 1 point if you're running suicides. Liquid Courage, this is an all or nothing mastery. As you can see over here, this is the damage that you take from Liquid Courage. It is always the same. But the more points you have, you're doing up to 30% more damage to your opponents. So if you're going to have 1 point there, have 3 points there. Double Edge. This is not quite all or nothing. You'll be bleeding for up to 16 seconds. You'll be doing up to 30% more damage. And you'll be taking up to 20% damage from the bleeding. However, if you're running something that more and more champs are becoming, they're becoming more and more, or at least more often they're becoming partially bleed immune. And that is fantastic if you're running, for example, willpower. You'll be healing from running suicides. If you're running Double Edge, it is important that you're also running Coagulate on defense. Very important. 30% less damage immediately, right off the bat. You will be mitigating most of the bleed damage from your suicide masteries. That is the biggest mistake that most people make when running suicides. That is why, primarily, one of the reasons you are not allowed to play suicides on defense in war. Because your champs would bleed out and they would throw specials and they would die faster. Now people are getting better at dexing specials, so now it's more leaning towards, yeah, they would throw specials and then ultimately just kill themselves off because of recoil. But there's getting more and more champs that are becoming immune to recoil as well. So, yeah, Immortal Hulk is one, for example. I'm going to touch on this one quickly. Mutagenesis. Anybody who's got a point there, take it out. It's not worth it. I'm not even saying more. Just don't have a point there. The most pointless mastery that we have other than these. Pure skill. Great mastery to have for your skill champs. They ignore for 5 points up to 64% armor. If you now are going to be stupid enough to put 5 points in there, are you so stupid? I don't think so. But still, if you are going to be so mad as to put 5 points into there, then have full PS. Because your skill champs would then be ignoring this full 15% plus, where is it? There it is. The 64% here. Yeah, that's a lot of free damage. A lot of free damage. I'm still going to test this out one day. I just need to get to that point that I'm actually going to get these things to the cores to unlock this. Yeah. And then as we can see, there is nothing really more to discuss for offense. And this is a basic Suicide Mastery setup for offense. Yeah, it's standard in every way. There's nothing special about it. It is a generic mastery that I generally run for AQ and such when I want to practice a little bit in Abyss or whatever, because that's where I have a lot of my points. Yeah, there's nothing special about it. It's not a fantastic mastery setup. It's not a revolutionary mastery setup. It's just plenty of attack. Here is a fantastic place to go to, antm.ai. Here you can actually play around with different setups. Take a look-see. How many points have you used? Retraining, how much it would cost you if you would use it in war, and what it costs to unlock all these masteries, right? This that you see here is a general standard. Once again, nothing special. Out of the box, no suicides, offense mastery. As you can see, no glass cannon. I do not recommend it if you're not running suicides. It's 7.2% attack. If you got 3 points there, that's 3 points you're throwing away from defense. You're better off having them here. Encourage, for example. There we go. So that's just an example of what the offense tree can look like. Thanks for watching this video, and have a pleasant day.